Who now? You mentioned managers. Obviously you guys, Sabes, you hired Dusty and Felipe and then Boch, and Ned. You had Grady Little and Joe Torre. And now analytics are a huge part of the game. And if you were in a job right now and you were in that position, or if somebody said to you, give me 2-3 names of people that would be on your short list to manage in 2024, not any club, not a particular club, just any club. Um, who's on your short list? I know I always felt like David Bell, Brian, was going to be the Giant manager if your reign had continued here. I felt like you had a great respect for him, but who would be on your short list for manager? Not necessarily the Giants, but just of any club. If you were looking for a guy today, knowing
Well,
what you know about the Giants.
I don't know that I'm current enough or have even thought about that in the last couple years because it's not in my wheelhouse. Speaking of managers, to digress, um, where we got lucky as a franchise is, Dusty obviously was as big a personality and as strong or stronger in the community than Barry. But Dusty was an icon unto his own. And that kind of set things in motion that, you know, subsequent hires probably needed to be named folks with lengthy resumes. And that's what happened with landing Felipe and ultimately Boch. If you ask me what I would look for, I would look for strength of resume and experience as well as a high level of integrity and loyalty to a cause. I think one thing you can say about Dusty and Boats, they're not looking for their next job. They're not trying to climb up the totem pole anymore. And in some cases, I wonder with the next generation or this current generation, what they're in it for. Are they in it, for the right reasons, or are they in it, to build on their personal fame or their public persona? We all know that these folks are heavily engaged in social media, which I think can be to their detriment. But I would want somebody that the organization could trust, ownership, front office, and then Lord knows those folks in the clubhouse, because it's a thankless job, and they have to serve so many more masters now, as well as keep up with the Joneses as far as the technology and the analytics. So it's a complicated time, but I still would want somebody that had a higher level of experience or some, uber level of success.
Yeah,
Ned, what do you think?
It's very challenging I think, to manage without experience, without massive experience, where there's very few situations that are going to come up that you already haven't dealt with in some way, shape, or form. I think the other thing I look for is understanding people. You have to know everybody in that room, how they think, where their securities are, where their insecurities are, what they're willing to do, their ability to sacrifice their teammateship, all those things. You got to understand that, and strategy, of course. And with analytics being as powerful as it is, I think you have to have a respect for it and understand where it can help you. But I don't think I'd be looking for somebody that wouldn't look inside that jersey to figure out who it is and then add the analytics to it. But I would start with the people and those leaders that have the experience, can read people and understand everybody and how they think and how they work and how they can best get to their utmost of talent, both for them and their players, and the ability to meld the combination of that with an analytical view from time to time. But I think that's the key. And like Sabes, I haven't paid attention to who's the next up and coming star manager and things like that. I talk to people all the time and give people guidance into doing it. And so I've got a list of names that if I was in that spot, I would no doubt talk to and curry further than I can right now. But I know the type I'd be looking for, and that would lead me to the right calls if that ever came to be.
We're talking with Brian Sabean and Ned Colletti, former general managers. Ned with the Dodgers, Brian with the Giants. Ned was his assistant general manager. Hope you're enjoying this live stream as we talk a little baseball. So many Giants fans would love me to turn this whole thing into a Giants thing. And I got too much respect for both you guys, and I would never want to put you in any kind of compromised position. But I do have one specific Giants-related question. And Sabes, if you got to beg out of this because of your spot with the Yankees, feel free. But so many Giants fans you guys saw the passion up close. You saw how passionate people like myself are and the fans are for the Giants and for them having success. And I got to thank both you guys for so many enjoyable decades of watching this team, covering this team, Sabes for the 3 titles. Seriously, something my late father and I got to enjoy before he passed together. And, it's something that makes me smile every time I think of riding in those parades in 12 and 14 down Market Street on the KMBR float and what that did to this city and what kind of impact this ball club has on this city. But I'm also friends with guys like Larry Nibby and Giant owners and Giant, executives and Giants, coaches and people that are associated with the organization. And the one thing that's universal is that everybody associated with this franchise has total and utter respect for both of you gentlemen. So with that as the backdrop, I got to ask you the basic question is the Dodgers have owned the National League West for a long, long time. And the Giants have plenty of revenue. They've got, they've got revenue more. They own their own ballpark. They got more revenue than you guys ever enjoyed. It's a much different organization than the organization that you guys ran in the 90s and even in the early 2000s, Brian. How do the Giants, in a strategic way, how do you close the gap on the Los Angeles Dodgers? Is there anything that you can point to, generally or specifically, that would elevate the Giants to not – if this were a fight in the last decade, they would stop it. The Dodgers have dominated this division. How do the Giants close that gap? Brian?
Well, looking back to when we came into our own, and it was basically the 09 season that dovetailed into the 2010 season. Once you start producing your own players and they become your core, that's where the organization takes it to the next level because there's a greater sense of pride. The fan base has got some buddies they can hang their hat on because they've been produced by the organization. They've come up through the ranks. And they should be there, for a pretty good term of their career. And I think that's really the goal is to win the talent battle because it's very fallible to go year to year to try to upgrade through trade or even free agency. It's like, we being the Yankees now have a lot of heavy lifting to do to facelift our major league situation. And it's not a good year as far as the free agent market. And Lord knows, to keep boat racing to get the Final Four like they did in 2022, you've traded a lot of players away in the last 4 or 5 years. So you got to be even more strategic with the trades you make. So I would say it's not a shortcut because it takes time, but you got to win the talent race at the lower level where you're developing your own.
Ned, you have a perspective on this that maybe is the best of anybody because you were here, you've been there, you've seen the inner workings of the Giant system, the scouts, all the background, what the Dodgers have going up close. You've created some of that momentum, damn it. Um, that all being said, Ned, how, and this is probably a question I've asked you before, Ned, so forgive me if I've asked you this question before, but what do you think? How do the Giants run with the Dodgers, Ned?
You got to develop your own. The answer is not always on the free agent market. You got to develop your own, and you really have to know your players well, because sometimes some outside service is going to rank somebody, for whatever reason, at a place higher than you would ever think that they could be. And if you know your players well enough, those are the players you move. But there's no shortcut around developing your own. You have to do it. And I think those teams that lean on the free agency, that's got a shelf life to it. You start to develop your own, you end up with competition inside the room, and that's always a good thing. And the thing I've noticed about LA for a long time is they don't take a pitch off. I think we talked about this maybe a month or so ago on your show. They don't take a pitch off. Well, we see what happens when they did against AZ, but by and large, everybody else will take a pitch off here and there. They refuse. And then they just keep on rolling. While somebody takes a breath, they go right past them. And it's a little bit of a destination stop, LA, but not so much that it's going to turn the table one way or the other. Their success, and I'll stand by it. Their success really for the last 15, 16 years is really the players they signed internationally or drafted. That's the crux of it. And yeah, Mookie's terrific, and Freddie is the same. There's no doubt about that. But the rest of the guys are really the homegrown guys: the Kershaws, the Jansons, the Seagers, the Bellingers, on and on. Justin Turner was a minor league sign, but that's not necessarily a free agent sign. A massive dollar amount, $1 million. So you got to develop your own. You're going to make a mistake once in a while, but you got to really know what you're doing, and how you're developing, and what you lay out to them. And then when they get there, they've got to have a fierceness to them that the Southern California lifestyle or the Northern California lifestyle will not soften. They have to have a fierceness to them to compete on a daily basis.